Hi, and welcome to CVC Interviews. My name is Joyce Vaudreuil from Vernon, and tonight we're here with Sadie Mae and some of the volunteers, including a very anxious pup looking for a forever home. Welcome. I'd like to know a little more about Sadie Mae. Tonight we have Katie, Sharon, and Yvette with us, and they're going to be telling us a little bit about the organization and what they do there. So Katie, what can you tell me about Sadie Mae?
Well, Sadie Mae is a not-for-profit rescue which takes dogs from local shelters and organizations that the dogs may be running out of time. And we take them in with no time limit. We'll keep them as long as it takes to find them the right home with the right people.
And what would running out of time look like?
Euthanasia, as sad as that is, it's a reality of a lot of pounds and shelters.
Is it because they've been there too long or they're too old?
Any variety of things. Some dogs have health issues that places can't afford to manage that we will take on, and through donation and volunteer help can manage better than a lot of pounds and shelters could.
Excellent. We have a very beautiful puppy here now. Her name is Bree,
Yes.
and she's I will vouch for the fact that Bree is a love. What else can you tell us about Bree tonight?
Bree is somewhere around 4 or 5 years old. We got her from Hartford, the Hartford Pound, and we have all fallen in love with her. She is a sweet, playful puppy who is she's a doll.
And she's already fixed, right?
Yeah, she was spayed when we got her.
Excellent.
She has wonderful manners and is treat motivated but polite about it. She can be particular with other animals sometimes. We don't know at this point how she'd be with cats or small animals. But she seems to get along with other dogs, and she just loves to play or chew on a bone and keep herself busy for a while.
So speaking of cats, I understand that Sadie Mae is just for dogs.
Yes.
And your focus has been on finding them forever homes. What are some of the ways that you do that?
We use our website and Facebook to reach out to potential adopters.
Okay, and those addresses will be available to our viewers.
And a potential adopter can apply online for any of the dogs that we have, and it will involve meeting them in person through appointment and getting to know the dog, seeing if it's a good fit. If they have other animals, we'd bring them as well and try to see how well they get along. And then one of our volunteers will do a home visit to see if the home is appropriate, any vet history they may have with previous pets, just to make sure they're responsible pet owners. And if all goes well, then you have a new home and a new family member. So.
Well, she is just a love. I can't believe it. I was on the webpage, a lot frequently, but I just can't believe some of the beautiful faces and pets you have there.
Yes, we've had a lot of great animals come through.
So who is Sadie Mae? I'm just curious about that.
Sadie Mae was a dog that the founder, Brenda Albert, had, a basset hound, a beautiful basset hound that she had, and that was one of the loves of her life. And so she wanted to dedicate all of the good work that Sadie Mae Foundation does to the memory of her beautiful basset.
That's usually typical.
Yeah.
Yep. How long have you been with the organization?
I've been with them for about 3.5 years.
Okay.
And I actually work for Brenda Albert and her sister. They run a boarding kennel as well, so I work for them there too, as well as volunteering for the foundation.
So can people drop in and see the dogs you have available for adoption, or is it by appointment?
It is by appointment
Okay.
only. Online is the best way to kind of look and see who's coming in, and then you can contact us through the website to make an appointment for face-to-face meetings.
And all dogs that are adopted out have had full checkups?
Yes.
And have been spayed or neutered?
If they haven't been spayed or neutered yet, if they're too young, sometimes we do get litters of puppies. There is a process wherein the adopter gives a deposit in good faith that they're going to get the spay or neuter done, and then they will get that deposit back when it is completed.
Excellent.
But other than that, they are fully fixed and vetted.
Excellent. And do you do any type of training with people who might have, they're hesitant about bringing a dog into their home? Like, do you help them to train the dog how to do things and like go outside or use a wee-wee pad? That's the best invention ever, I'll tell you that thing.
We try to do as much training as possible while they're with us in the shelter. But any problems that owners do have once they've brought their new pet home, we're always available for assistance and any questions they might have, and giving them resources like in-home trainers or even through their vet's office. We don't necessarily have dedicated trainers with the foundation, but we have the resources to share.
Wow, excellent. So you brought a few friends here. So Sharon, you and I were talking about some of the things earlier. We were talking about different fundraising techniques. I couldn't help but notice that Bree has on this beautiful pink bow. Oh yes, you are beautiful with this beautiful pink bow. These are available for sale?
Yes, if you through our website and through the Facebook page, Brenda G makes them, does a beautiful job and tries to kind of fit them to the dog's personality for the ones that we have in the shelter. But they all are also available for purchase, and we do have them also when we do pet adoptions. We have them out available there as well.
Well, as everybody can see, Bree just loves everybody and anybody.
Right.
What are some of the other ways that you folks do some fundraising besides straight donations of cash, which we all love, by the way?
Absolutely. We actually, Kate has one of the sweatshirts on. We have through Cafe Press on the website have the T-shirts, sweatshirts, like long sleeve shirts. Usually 2 or 3 times a year, we'll run the fundraiser, and it's a good way for the volunteers to always keep up with a clean shirt.
Yes,
and
yes.
then, the families that have adopted from Sadie Mae as well enjoy having the shirt to say that they were proud, to be part of our
course.
organization. So
I've always loved the bumper sticker. Who rescued you?
That's
that
right.
seems so appropriate at times.
Absolutely.
How long have you been with Sadie Mae?
I've been with Sadie Mae for about 2.5 years, and I started because my kids were teenagers and they didn't need me in the PTO anymore. So I figured I would give my love back through the dogs, and just totally enjoyed it. We do have a foster failure from Sadie Mae, and my husband has told me that I can't do that again right away.
Right away, he said. Oh,
Right
I like
away,
that.
exactly. I
Yet.
have
I
a
love that
little
word,
leeway.
yet, not right away.
Right.
So I think I might want to explain what a foster failure is, because it's not such a terrible thing.
No,
I, too, am a
nope.
foster failure. When I lived in central Massachusetts, where this accent is from, for about 8 years, my husband and I fostered kittens and cats who were injured from the Worcester Animal Rescue League. So after about 8 years and numerous pets, my husband broke down, and at the time we were fostering Crash and Bang, so they were litter mates that the staff had named as a group, but they played so rough together. When we adopted them, we chose to keep their names. So a foster failure, for those of you who don't know, is when you're assigned to foster and give back the pet, but then you wind up adopting. But you still found a forever home.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad.
Yes.
That's very great. And now we have a vet here with us.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
And you're one of our many volunteers at
Yes.
Sadie Mae. And what do you do there?
I do a little bit of everything, feeding, medicating, cleaning, spending time with them. It's very rewarding.
I can imagine. How long have you been there?
Roughly about 1.5 years, 2 years.
Excellent. How did you find out about Sadie Mae?
Actually, I found out about Sadie Mae through someone that knows Sadie Mae.
Oh.
I don't exactly remember, but they recommended Sadie Mae, and from there it's just wonderful.
So what are some of the things you do specifically? You show up, you say, hi, I'm here to volunteer. What would you do in a typical day as a volunteer, your typical time there?
Well, it depends on the shift that you have. I usually do morning shifts. Morning shifts are the busiest. You do cleaning, sanitizing, feeding, medicating if they do need medications, and playtime, a lot of playtime.
Oh, that's a tough job.
Yes.
Oh, that's too bad.
Bree doesn't like that part.
No, not at all.
So, how have you fostered any of the animals yet, or?
I have 2 foster failures myself. Yeah, Simba and Diva. Yep, little brother and sister Chihuahuas.
Oh my goodness, that is
Yes.
so. Well,
Yes.
that's those of us that love animals. That just happens. I did originally look to get a dog, but at the time we had an apartment, so they allowed cats. but I did have to go through the process that you talked about too, about even for fostering, and I had to go for training on how to milk feed, bottle feed the babies, and the vetting process is impressive. It makes me feel so much better when I know someone has adopted out or foster failed out and got another animal.
Well, and it is a protection for the animal as well as for the people that are fostering, because you don't want the situation to be bad. You want it to be positive on all sides. So
Yeah.
putting a little extra time in to make sure everybody's on the same page is well worth it.
Well, what are some of the events that you have gone to get the word out about all these wonderful dogs that are available?
Well, we do some of the local adoption fairs and some of the farmers markets, and we'll bring whatever crew we have at that time to be able to meet some people in person and
Sure.
get some socialization. And every once in a while, we will also have an open house at our kennel
Oh.
to again do the same kind of thing of letting the dogs get some face time and doing some of the fundraising that Sharon was talking about. Some of our items for sale and just letting the dogs have a good time. And we'll often have our photographer there to do family portraits with people and their dogs. And
Actually, that's a really good point to bring up. The pictures of the pets when they're up for adoption. You have a professional photographer doing that?
we do.
Excellent. And what's the name of the photographer?
Deanna.
Oh, Deanna. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I love the photos on the webpage, and I did scroll through, and my heartstrings were already getting tugged. I love that you're affiliated with Pet Finder. I think that's been a wonderful tool.
Oh yes, absolutely.
How long have you been affiliated with them? Do you know?
Not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. It's been quite a few years that we've been able to use that as a resource, because it really is. It just brings everything to a central point that it makes it easier for people to find the dogs and vice versa.
When I was looking at it, that was great because you could say small dog, large dog,
Right.
spay, new. You could pick you can just even by color you can sort
Right.
them. I was like, this is wonderful. It's making it a little too easy for me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we want.
That's right. That's right. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to go to a break, and when we come back from our break, I would really like to talk about some of the dogs you have there, some of the personalities you currently have, and maybe some tips on being a new dog owner. So for right now, I'd like everyone to consider adopting out one of these beautiful animals that are at the Sadie Mae organization. You can like them on Facebook or their webpage. And while you're on Facebook, you can also like CVC CT. Like us on Facebook too. So we'll be back in a few minutes and to talk more about the animals that are available and how you can help if you can't at this time adopt.
Live with a human for a while and you get to know a few things. Like, I know she's actually not a morning person. I know she does strange tricks for no treats. I know that water makes her howl like crazy. I even know how the floor stays so clean. She's quick. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
Your voice matters. Register to vote. You have a right and a duty to vote for the people you want to represent your best interest at all levels of government. Registering to vote is quick and easy. You can go online to the Connecticut Secretaries of State's website. You will need a Connecticut driver's license or Connecticut state ID. Or you could pick up a voter application at your local library and mail it in. Or you can go to your local registrar of voters office. You'll need an ID. It shows your residency. Your voice matters.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Hi, welcome back. This is Joyce Vaudreuil from Vernon at CVC Interviews, and I'm here with the folks from Sadie Mae, along with Bree, a very vibrant dog.
She's after your water.
We were talking earlier about fostering and how some of us are what would be called foster failures because we wound up adopting our animals we fostered. We'd like to hear more about fostering, and I think we have a few of them here. But Sharon, you're a volunteer who also knows about the fostering process. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden I say, I want to be a foster parent. How do I go about it with animals?
So you do have to fill out an application.
Okay.
And that's usually the way you're going to start. I, as being a volunteer, had been talking to Brenda and Debbie about it beforehand, so it was a few steps ahead. But I did have to fill out the application so that they know, what kind of yard you have, how many hours is the dog going to be left alone, is it going to be in a crate, is it going to have free roam of the house, all those little things that we kind of take for granted, but we need to know what's going to happen with the animal. And I had someone come out to the house to do a home inspection to make sure that the home was safe for the animal. And I happened to foster, he was then Lee, his name is Brady now, sight unseen. He had come in from Georgia on a Sunday. I took him on a Thursday, and he never went back. So, but we've had people foster for months, years, until they've, when we need them, they step up. The majority of the foster families are volunteers in our organization, but we do have a few outside of the volunteers that are helping us as well. So it's a great thing to get the dogs out of the kennel. Sometimes the dog is showing signs of anxiety, and it's just not the right spot for them, but we haven't found a home for them yet. So volunteers have taken them home, or the foster families have stepped up just to get them out and relax them, socialize them with their dogs, and it helps tremendously.
So if I were to foster an animal and they were sick, who pays for the medicine?
Sadie Mae takes care of all of that.
Okay.
We do ask that you would be available to take the dog to the vet and transport it that way, but Sadie Mae does cover all of the medical expenses.
And I believe I saw on your webpage that you would even pay for the food that the dog would need. And
Yes.
in my case, I don't know about you folks, like when I fostered, I just bought the food. That was convenient for me to buy.
But some dogs do have special dietary needs that involve more expensive food. So, so it can be a real asset to have the foundation pay for it instead of someone paying out of pocket. That could be prohibitive otherwise to them fostering. So.
Right.
And when I fostered Brady, they gave me some food for the transition over, because I told them that we would just use the food that we were using with our other dog. So, but just to make the transition for his stomach a little easier, instead of going immediately to our food from what he was used to, and anything that I needed until our adoption was finalized was covered through Sadie Mae. So,
Very good. So what happens if you had the dog for just a couple of weeks and then they said, oh no, he's adopted out? Have you had that where you were fostering and before the time period was up, they got fostered out? Or do you just foster them until they get adopted?
Well, it's usually fostered until adopted, and again, families have just kept them until even if it was an extended period of time. But they'll bring them in for meet and greets, or take them to the adoption events that we have, and so that they can be seen. So,
would that be required to bring them to events?
It wouldn't be required, but the meet and greet is definitely required in order to make sure that the dog is compatible with the owner, because sometimes that doesn't happen. It's not love at first sight type of thing. Right. And if they have other dogs, definitely have to do the meet and greet to make sure that there's also compatibility there. One
of the things I had done when I was fostering was I made notes about the personality of the pet. At the time, I was doing just kittens and cats, and so I would start to write things down, and they just loved that because then they were able to. They was to Animal Rescue League. Then they were able to tell the people that were adopting, "Oh, this is what the foster parent did." Did you do anything like that? You also are a foster failure, huh?
Yes.
And you have two of them
Two,
at the same time?
Simba and Diva, they're brother and sister. They came from Georgia. And they were at the shelter for quite a while, I believe 5 or 6 months. And it was going to come to a point where we were going to separate them. And I couldn't see the brother and sister separated, so I adopted them.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt about my crash and bang. You can't. They were just so connected to each other.
Yeah, they're a bonded pair.
So how did you find the fostering process?
It was pretty easy for me.
Had you
I don't
done
know.
it before?
No, it was the first time.
And from having been in the shelter with all the volunteers for so long, I've had, certainly created even a bond with Simba and Diva before
Yes.
taking them home. So that
Exactly.
that made that transition easier for all of them.
Speaking of that, your bond, I get attached to animals so easily.
It's
How
hard.
do you do it?
It's hard.
How do we
Very
do it,
hard.
Bree? How do we do it?
Because look at this face. We really want to find a forever home for Bree, but wow, what a great mascot for your organization. It's like, look at this. The hell?
We really enjoy the time that the dogs are there, but when we do see them adopted, it's the greatest feeling in the world. And then when we get updates, it's even more beautiful because we do get updates from some of them
Nice.
in their new homes.
Yeah, seeing them happy and healthy and settled is
Right.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
So what types of things could people do to donate either goods or do you have people come that volunteer to walk the dogs? And is that something that you do? Yvette, do you walk the dogs?
We actually do in the mornings, yes.
mornings.
Just to get
That's why
them
you go
out.
in the morning.
Yes. Yes.
That's the fun part, instead
Yes.
of cleaning the cages all the time.
Well, and they can never have too many walks.
I've been there.
Yes.
I've been at the rescue league a few times when they were cleaning, and it's like bowl after bowl after bowl after bowl after bowl. I never knew there were so many different kinds of pet bowls out there. So what are some of the things, donations-wise? Some folks don't realize that you guys could use blankets and pillowcases and towels and anything that's not, you don't want to have it anymore, but even you don't want to send it to Goodwill because it's so worn, but you folks sure can.
Absolutely. You can never have too many blankets or towels
Right.
or sheets or anything like that.
They took my grandmother's curtains too.
Yep.
They said they use it for padding underneath the blankets.
Yep.
So that's a great way to donate things that
Absolutely.
you no longer need.
Yeah.
And that these guys, they go through a lot of that stuff.
They do. We've got laundry machines running constantly.
And we pad their bedding. It's
Yeah.
not just one blanket. There's multiple blankets inside their beds, and to make sure that they're comfortable and cozy and whatnot. And you can imagine, cleaning up dog slobber and whatnot. We have go through towels, multiple towels every shift,
Oh, yeah.
and so all that stuff is dish towels even are handy. And
Oh, yeah.
we do have a wish list on the Smile Amazon
Excellent.
page.
I did
Yep.
click on it. You're one of the few organizations that has a pretty good list already on Amazon.
Yeah.
So for those of you don't know, Amazon Smiles is a way for you to just donate a small portion of your purchase from Amazon, and it goes directly to the organization. You don't have to do anything extra. Once you set it up on your Amazon account, it'll automatically get donated to the Sadie Mae Foundation. They have things on their webpage from food to toys. You really like those Kong products, I see.
yeah.
Do you like those?
What a
Bree
great
really likes
invention.
those Kong.
And now they're shaped like animals and everything. It's just wonderful. So if people can go on to Amazon and go through that to donate. What about, do you take PayPal and things like that from your webpage, or how do you do that?
There is a PayPal link on our website.
Okay, yep.
And that's really the easiest way for just straight cash donations. But I believe there is also an address on there. If you felt more comfortable mailing a check, there is a mailing address on the website as well.
Oh yeah, we still take checks.
Yes.
That's all. Send in your checks. And what's some events that might be coming up in the spring? Is that kind of a busy time for you folks?
It It can be. We don't have anything set just yet, but we are getting some more dogs in pretty soon. So we're gonna.
Why do you keep getting them from Georgia? What happened? Why Georgia?
There are a lot of southern dogs that don't have the resources that the dogs up here have that need homes. There's a lot more homeless animals down there that aren't being spayed or neutered. They aren't being rescued the same way they are up here. So we try and take from everywhere, find dogs anywhere that need homes. Like I said, Bree here, she's from Hartford. She's a local girl.
Oh,
but
so she understands my accent.
But we just anywhere that dogs need us and need a helping hand, we'll try and help out. And there are transports that run up and down the.
I was on the list, when I was a foster parent. I never could quite make it happen. I always wanted to. It's like, oh, I'm on a rescue mission, but the timing just never matched up with my schedule. But I was so interested. I should probably just get back on the list now that I'm in this area because I was like, I'm a little bit closer now.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you guys would like to talk about or before we say goodnight and bring Bree back home to her temporary home?
Do you want a home?
She is surrounded by people that love her, and that's something. If you have a passion for animals, you can always sign up to be a volunteer. You can never have too many volunteers.
Right.
And the same with anything you can do, the fostering, donations, any help you can give is so greatly appreciated by us. And the dogs.
Absolutely.
They're the ones that benefit from all of it. So that's what really matters in what we do.
So if you're ready to add to your home another very lovable animal, please go to the Sadie Mae Foundation webpage or Facebook. I understand you have an Instagram, so you can go to their Instagram. And what else today? Facebook, Instagram, and webpage. So like Sadie Mae Foundation on your webpage, on your Facebook, go to their webpage and open your heart and your home to some beautiful animals that need a forever home. This is Joyce Vaudreuil from Vernon saying goodnight from CVC Interviews.